How's everybody doing?
Hey, Coach, how are you, sir?
Good, good.
All right, we'll just go ahead and open it up for questions for Coach Harrell.
Blake, you got a big game coming up on Friday here. Needless to say, you're going to have to find some ways to break serve defensively. Talk about the importance of winning a few defensive battles and a few series along the way, and just to try to give your offense a little bit of a chance to stay up with Tulsa, who scores a lot of points.
Yeah, they're certainly a good offense and, experienced quarterback who does a really nice job running the offense and putting the ball in those receivers' hands. Huge up front, good running back. So, like you said, certainly a challenge for us. For us, I think we got to stop the run on what I call the normal downs, first and second down, and get them in third down situations. Third and 5, third and 10 plus. The longer the better for us. But that's where we got to win it at, and just starts off, by doing a good job with our fundamentals up front, linebacker-wise, and make sure we don't give up the big play in the pass game and be ready to go. As we told our kids all week, and even in the bye week last week, the team that's more physical, plays, better effort, better energy, better execution is going to be the team that has a chance to win the ball game in the fourth quarter. And I know that sounds kind of like a repeat from week to week, but it's very consistent from week to week.
With the Navy game, so y'all did some good things for sure, especially up front. But when you face a team like Navy and how unique they are, can you take a whole lot out of that, or you kind of have to just flush it just because their style is so different from what you'll see this week in other teams, obviously?
Well, anytime you play a triple option, obviously we did some good things in the game. I wish we could have put a complete game together, but we did some good things that I think helps us our confidence, just helps us, hey, we can play fast. We can play with great effort, all those type of things, and make some plays against a good Navy football team. But anytime you go face the triple option to a more traditional offense, it takes a few days to get back in line of, hey, we're going to go have pass scale and we're going to drop into coverage this week. For the linebackers, they were used to being about 4 yards and playing downhill and tackling the dive and along with their D linemen. So you had to get those guys back in the pass rush mode and linebackers back in the pass drops and hey, guys, we're going to actually get out of the box this week and move around a little bit. So that was a little bit different. And the good thing we had the bye week, which was kind of nice, that you had a few extra days to get them back into that mode and got to go against our offense a little bit. So it helped kind of make that transition a little smoother.
Watching Tulsa, it seems like they're one of the more balanced teams you guys might face. Is that tough? I know every team can run it or throw it, but really you can't really spot on one specific thing to take away.
Yeah, on first and second down, they're very balanced. I mean, the quarterback's an RPO guy. If you bring pressure, he's going to throw it right where you brought the pressure from. So you got to do a good job disguising those things, changing the looks up for him, whether it be different fronts, different coverages, and they can certainly run the football and prove that last week. So, and they're an experienced football team. They're all the old linemen for the most part are back. Older receivers, older running backs. So you got to change the looks up on them, change the looks up on the quarterback, take away the run game, make him put it in the air, and hopefully you can get a pick or knock the ball down and get a sack or two and change the game around a little bit.
4 games into the season, how do you think the secondary has played thus far? Tripp and Steve Ellis kind of coaching things about there.
Yeah, those guys are doing a heck of a job coaching those guys up back there, and you see improvement from week to week to week. I think if you just compare the first 2 ball games to the last 2 ball games, you see a total different secondary. I mean, a secondary that's confident, flying around, making plays, going up and getting the ball, and that's kind of nice to have back there, and you feel more and more comfortable with those guys every week.
Can you just speak to Elijah Morris? And he was such an unknown, I'm sure, not only to you, but so many people until maybe kind of a few weeks ago. Just his emergence, what does that mean for this team? And I guess you can kind of call it a pleasant surprise, maybe something you weren't counting on, really.
Yeah, Elijah's he's kind of my hero right now. He's kind of the underdog, came in here, nobody knew about him, and for a while there, all we called him by was his number, and he was number 60 for a while in camp and through the preseason, and we just called him 60, and he kept coming to work every day, and he'd work his tail off, fight his tail off. It didn't matter if he was going against the 2s, the 3s, the 1s. He kept showing up, And next thing you know, he's in the lineup. He's on the travel team, gets to start against Navy and makes some big plays throughout the ball game. And he's changed numbers now, so we had to call him 90 sometimes, but we all for sure know his name by now.
Coach Houston talked a lot about during the bye getting some young guys some work, maybe resting some of the guys that played more. Did you see any of those freshmen or younger guys kind of take a leap during that bye week?
Well, our whole defense is young, so we got them all work. But yeah, we're seeing some of those young D linemen that you guys haven't got a chance to see yet really step up and make some plays. Deontay Johnson, those guys are starting to impress. Shuford is really kind of coming along, and you can see those guys, they're getting better every week like you would expect a young guy. So that was nice to see and get those guys some reps and live action and just see them go compete during a bye week. You might have a few extra minutes to steal those guys some reps.
Blake, that bunch looks like they're getting some confidence. How much is that going to help as you move forward here? They're starting to exude a little bit of confidence on the field, and they're showing some belief.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, anytime that, when you're unconfident or you're not sure or you don't know the scheme very well or you're hesitant, it kind of makes you look maybe slow or maybe look like, we always say soft or a coward. But anytime you start to get a little confidence, things go well. Maybe you play well at times against Navy. You play well at times against South Florida. That just builds your confidence. Next thing you know, you're seeing things faster. You're recognizing what the offense is trying to do a little faster. And the defense even better. I just was talking to my linebackers in my room, just yesterday. They're calling out the answers of everything I was having a month ago to kind of lead them to the water so they could drink it. And now they're calling it right out. Say, hey, this is where I fit. This is my job. This is my responsibility. And that's part of new defense kind of coming along, getting a little confidence. And I think you're going to see our guys play a lot faster as the year goes throughout.
Coach, we've seen, Taylor Jackson, a freshman in your room, play some. How's Eric Doctor coming along?
Eric Doctor's doing a good job. He's, the pandemic, he had to get back in shape, and he's finally getting in shape and changing his body around and doing some nice things and competing. Did a nice job last week competing when he got some opportunities. And I look, in the years to come, I think he's going to be a really good linebacker for us.
Are there any other questions for Coach Harrell? Okay, Coach, thank you for your time.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, fellas.
Hey, Coach, how are you, sir?
I'm okay. How you guys?
Doing well. We're just going to go ahead and start with questions for Coach Kirkpatrick.
Well, Coach, how do you compare and contrast maybe this week of prep compared to the Navy game? You have your starting quarterback back. Does that help?
Well, yeah, it helps my stomach, helps my digestive system. That's a tough deal. We we tried to prepare for it as much as we could. We talked about, that's a possibility. But reality was that was a hectic week. It's a fun week. I mean, it's an exciting week. But it was a tough week. You call a young man on Tuesday afternoon and say, can you get over here a little bit early today? And yeah, what's up? Hey, you're starting this week, and he thought I was joking. I think he was the only one that didn't know the rumors. He didn't pay attention to all the rumors or whatever. So, we had to have some cram sessions there. And this week we're kind of back, normal week. And that is a good feeling for the offense because obviously Holton's such a huge part of that. Not that Mason didn't do a good job, but obviously, he was inexperienced at it. And this gives us a much better chance to go win the game.
When you look at Tulsa's cornerbacks, I think 3 of the top 4 guys are 6'2", 6'3", and when they played Oklahoma State, that was something the ESPN guys kept harping on, was just those corners and their physicality. What is the challenge there? Is it to try to be physical with them or outrun them, or how do you kind of deal with that, I guess?
I tell you what, they're good. They're good all over on defense. Last year was the last game of the year. Disappointed in how we played. I was disappointed just in our effort and a lot of other things too. Really slow starting on offense. Finished pretty good. But we knew going into the game, we thought they were one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best personnel-wise. That's the same thing again. They got 5 starters back, but they got 6 other guys that all played. It was a physical game last year with them. CJ had a big game, 6 catches, I think like 140 some yards, a touchdown, had another one called back. But it was a physical game, a lot of interference calls, almost came to blows a couple of times. So their guys are going to be in your face, and they're big enough, they're physical enough, they're tall, they are long-armed, and they don't care. They might get an interference on one play, they're going to be right back at you the next play, and they're going to be physical. So our kids are going to have to really concentrate on their technique is what you got to do. You got to use release moves. You can't just come off the line of scrimmage. You've got to be a good technician. You got to use your release moves. We got to help them some. We got to, use motions. We got to move them around a little bit. You got to find some illegal rubs in there to get them off some of the man coverage. But they present a lot of problems. There's 5 DBs. It's a 3-3 stack type scheme with 5 DBs. It's very unusual, but it's becoming popular in college football right now. And so we're starting to see a little bit more of it. SMU's running a version of it. South Florida's actually running a version of this too. So we are getting some experience at seeing it. So hopefully that'll help us.
Donnie, everybody knows that you're going to have to be able to throw the football a little bit against Tulsa. And, unlike your days when you were in the band, the Romantics, back in your big hair days in the 1980s, you wouldn't be talking in your sleep if you didn't say something about the fact that you're going to have to be able to run the ball too.
Well, our goal was always to try to be balanced. Meeting with Coach Houston earlier in the week, and he's like, came in and how are they? And I was like, well, you're not going to want to hear this, but they're pretty good again. And he's like, yeah, no, I already know that. I knew they were. And he's like, are we going to be able to run the ball? And I was like, well, we'll have to be able to run the ball. And he's like, don't worry, I don't care if you throw it 60 times, whatever. I don't care how you do it. We just got to find a way to move it, and we got to find a way to score points. And so just, do what you got to do. And I was like, well, we will. But you'll have to be balanced because they'll drop 8 guys on you in pass coverage. They'll play man, but they'll still drop 8. It's a lot of tight seams. It's hard to throw the ball, when people drop 8 guys. You got to be able to run the ball in order to get them to play some run defenses so that you can throw the ball. At the same time, that you just got to keep them off kilter a little bit because you can't let them know what you're going to do. I think we're suited for that. I feel good about our run game. I feel good that we can throw the ball as well. What I'd like to see us do now is do both of them really well in one game. I think we kind of did that at South Florida. I think that was probably the reason for our success of scoring so many points there. That's probably the only game we've been able to do both really well. So we're going to need to do that again. I think we're set up for that, though. So it's going to be a fun night.
This sets up as a difficult matchup to try to run the football against this bunch. Just watching them on TV last week and the last couple of weeks, it's going to be a tough nut to crack. But your team is running the ball as well as they have in a long time at East Carolina.
Well, I think so, too. I think the kids are doing a nice job up front. Last 2 weeks, we've played really good up front, and that's been a mess. You got to have a program to know who's playing up front right now and who's in what position, but they've played really well up front. The run backs obviously have done a nice job, too, I think, with that. So, yeah, this is a big challenge going to Tulsa, playing on a Friday night. It's a little bit of a different schedule. I hear it's going to be a little bit of a cool night, which, I guess some of our players like that. Some of them probably don't like that very much. Good team. They're playing really, really well right now. If you watch the Oklahoma State game, you would really be upset. I mean, you'd be like, okay, this is not good. That's an undefeated ranked team. Oklahoma State is pretty good on offense. I know the quarterback got hurt in that game, but scary good how good they played on defense. Central Florida's pretty good on offense. And, Central Florida, after a quick start, was not able to do much against this defense. So we have a huge amount of respect for them, but we love this challenge. Our kids have embraced it. We've had a great week of practice. That's all you can do is have a good meeting, then have a good practice, then the next day come back and do that again. And so at this point, we're going in there with all eyes on playing well. And if you play well, good things will happen.
Donnie, I don't want to get too kind of personal, but with Holton, kind of mentally, how has he been? Is he motivated or has he been able to kind of shake off missing that game? How has he kind of been in practice or with the teammates, that type thing?
Well, mentally, he didn't miss a beat. We spoke when he got the positive test, and he went to watching Tulsa film that afternoon. He watched all her practices every day, even though, he wasn't going to play in the Navy game, though there was still a little bit of an outside chance. There was a lot of little things going on that we weren't never 100% sure what was going to happen. Would there be a retest? Would there be something else going on? There were so many rumors. It was hard to concentrate. It made it really a tough week, but he didn't lose anything mentally. I thought when he came out Saturday, the first day back, he really was able to practice. He was a little rusty with his throws. He had reverted back a little bit to dropping his release a little bit from kind of the way he was doing before we got here. Just kind of had to get back into the groove of it like that. I thought physically. We were very careful with him. We didn't, just put him in there every play and just run him to death the first day. The protocol wouldn't let you do that anyhow. But mentally, he's been good, and he was ready for this game plan. He was ahead of me. He was asking me questions, and I was like, I'm still worried about Navy. You get that done for Tulsa, and then we'll get on Tulsa, the next week. So he was pushing us to get to that from the very get-go then. So we still got a whole week. We don't want to get too far along in the game plan. I think you get stale if you practice it too many times. You just want to start to dabble in it a little bit. We wanted to do some other things. We wanted to do some things in open day just to look at ourselves, self-scout, go back, see what's working, what's not working, see if we needed to change anything, and then start to get into Tulsa a little bit later in the week. He was ready to go Saturday, though. He was bugging the heck out of me, to be honest with you.
With him missing most of last week, getting Mason maybe some more number one reps, did you see him kind of learn from that film and take a leap after the game?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Now, he came in on that Sunday. I said, all right, Mason, put your helmet on, better strap up a little bit. You usually sit in here and the other guy gets all the critique, and it's kind of nice and easy. You sit back and kind of watch that. Now it's going to all be aimed at you. And, Mason played, I think, 65 plays in the game, and there were 33 plays that he really was a major factor in the result of those plays. And the percentage of those were still pretty good. He had 6 or 7, though, that if he could have made the throw or made the read, would have made a world of difference. And when he saw them, he was like, oh, my goodness. It's just, wow. How did I miss that? How did I didn't know that, And so then I brought him back again the next day, and we rewatched those 30-some plays again, just one-on-one, so that I could be a little more direct with him, because as a true freshman, I didn't want to totally just destroy him, not even meaning to. But, really on a football play, a coach can kind of go through that play and dissect it for a long time, and everybody does a little something that you're like, well, you should have stepped here a little bit better. You probably should have done this. So, I tried not to destroy him in front of the group, then brought him back one-on-one. I was able to really, kind of really get into some of that. And, I think he grew leaps and bounds. The issue with it is he's a great talented player, and he's going to be outstanding. He didn't have spring ball. He wasn't an early enrollee. He got here in July, and it's the weirdest summer ever because some of the meetings were Zoom, and I don't know. Kids, especially rookies, they're not ready for Zoom meetings. You gotta be in right there with them. You got to be able to be a little more direct with them and that. So. The practices were kind of inconsistent. The other big thing was we brought in several new quarterbacks. So we really kind of put them all in there and let them kind of work and let it filter itself out. So he wasn't just getting all the reps early. So the other thing, he'd had 3 plays against Georgia State in mop-up duty, which, hardly anybody was paying attention to that point. So he didn't have very much experience going into that game. Navy is a very complex defense. One of the tougher things to figure for a quarterback. Holton kind of, talked to him for me a little bit, and Holton said, boy, Coach, I hate to say it. I won't say it to him. This is not the game you want to be your first start against Navy with that defense. You'd rather be somebody that lines up a little more simple. But he handled it okay, and he's learned a lot. He's been better in practices since then. So, you get better playing. I wish we could play all of them more. It'd be great, but obviously the games just don't let you do that.
Donnie, how much better is this team than the record is currently right now? If you were to have to put a grade on it, or how these guys feel about it as well, it's not all gone. It could have gone, but what's general take on it?
Well, I don't know. We kind of have a saying. I guess you're as strong as the weight you lift. You're as fast as the time you run. You know what I'm saying? You're as tall as you measure, I guess. So you are what you are. We don't try to go past that. We're obviously much better team though than we were last year. I think anybody that's watching us would say that. Now, the schedule has been a little more direct this year in that we opened up with Central Florida. We did open up with a really good North Carolina State team. I thought last year at the beginning of the season they were pretty good. But I don't want to insult anybody, but the schedule had a few more games in there for us to get going. Offensively, we did not play particularly well early in the season. So based on the first 4 games from last year to the first 4 games this year, our record may still stink, but we're way up. We're a lot better offensive football team in the first 4 games. We've played probably 4 better teams than we played in the first 4 games overall. So it's just hard to measure it. We've tried not to get, too depressed, okay, or, get too much. I think there was a point in there after the Georgia State game, we were all, we were having to tell each other, don't get too upset, don't jump off the ledge. It was hard not to want to get on some kids a little bit, maybe more than we should have gotten on them. Coach Houston did a nice job with that, of coming in and having a no pouting rule, a no whining rule. You know what I'm saying? That we're going to get that past us. There must have been a lot of noise out there. I learned a long time ago, y'all are outstanding at what y'all do. I don't pay a lot of attention to what you say, because if you said something really good about me, that'd make me probably screw up more. If you're saying something bad, that'd probably make me mad at you, and that wouldn't help the situation either. So not that I don't hear anything, but just kind of stay away from that and just kind of stay at it. Now, after the season, you may go back and kind of look at it and all that stuff. But I know I'm telling you, giving you a long answer. We're a lot better, but again, you are what you are.
Coach, you have 3 guys in Deontay Smith, Josiah Hatfield, and Demetrius Mooney, who were significant contributors last year, but they seem little to no playing time thus far this year for a variety of reasons. Can we expect to see them play a more prominent role this week?
Well, let's just kind of go back, because it's all of an individual situation. You mentioned Demetrius Mooney. He has had just, bad situation in that he's been injured. You know what I'm saying? He's had a lot of things that have gone on with him. Had the foot problem. So the reason he hasn't been in there playing a lot is he has not been physically able to go play. So, yeah, he was involved back in special teams a lot. And then, again, now he's got another condition that's going on that's a medical deal. So that's why he's not playing. It's not that he's better than he was last year. Now, we got some other cats that are playing pretty good. So that's a tough room in there to get reps at. You better be pretty good. But we haven't thrown him away. Who was the other one you asked? Hatfield? Josiah?
Yes, sir. Josiah Hatfield.
Yeah, Josiah Hatfield. Shoot, that's my dream guy. I tell him every time, where's Josiah when he have plays. Josiah got hurt in the very first game. And the one skill he doesn't possess is some durability right now. So he got hurt, and it took him forever to come back. And then it's been that the whole time. So he is full speed again right now. He does play behind Tyler Snead. It's hard to want to take Snead out. Snead doesn't like to come out. He doesn't like rest. But we try to put him in some other situations. But it's been mainly because he's been hurt. And I'm sorry, there was a third guy you asked about. Who was it?
Deontay Smith at tackle.
Well, Deontay Smith's our best offensive lineman, hands down, no question. And that's all been medical as well, too. So we're hoping to have him back. That would be a huge lift. It is, like I say, you've had to have a roster to know the offensive line, who's playing and in what position. And it's been hard to get some chemistry and build some continuity, though they've played well the last 2 weeks. I've really, really thought they've played really, really well in the last 2 games. Running the ball, obviously, very much to do with them, but also I think even, pass protection's been good too. So we'd love to have Dante back. Noah Henderson hadn't played any. All that's been injury deal too. So it's been one of those years with injuries, with COVID-19. There's a lot of stuff going on, and but everybody's got these problems. You know what I'm saying? Everybody around the country's got these problems. So this is just it's called 2020, I guess.
One final question for Coach.
Tony, can you talk about how the sense of urgency is right now to just get a win and get one on the board? And at this point in the proceedings, how important it would be as you approach the second half of the season?
Yeah, it is. It is exactly what you said. What we can't do and what we don't do by our philosophy is we don't over concentrate on that, because I don't know if that would help the kids if we press and say, you got to win, we got to win, we got to win. So we don't talk a lot about that. We don't talk a lot about the result. We talk more about the process. Literally what we do is we say to them on Sunday, we've got to get in here and watch the film from the day before, and we got to learn. We got to learn to not make that mistake, and we got to learn from that, and we got to get better. Then they go lift weights. You need to go lift weights today, and you need to get stronger. You know, we got to practice better, and you just each day try to stack those days. So we don't sit there and say we got to win. We got to do this to win. We say we have to go do this, and then if you'll do these things, good things will happen. And in this sport, good things means winning. You know what I'm saying? It's a win business. That's what it is. So you don't concentrate too much on the results, but more on the process. I think that seems to work better. That's not something we came up with. You know, that's what most, I think, programs probably do. And so that's where it's at. Practiced well today. Now tomorrow, come back, have good meetings, practice well, correct things, be energized, handle the trip. You know, we have so many young kids that they haven't been through this. You throw this on with the weird school, online school, and all the different things. It's strange feel around campus. It's very, very different not having the other students here and not having the daily schedule like it normally is. It's weird not having the fans in the stands. You know, I mean, it's still good, but it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. If we'd have had that game against Navy with a normal Dowdy-Ficklin atmosphere, it would have been one of the all-time classic games, I think.
Okay, Donnie, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. See you.
See you.